to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the War Room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. Once again, I am tucked away. Today, I'm tucked away in what I'm going to call the reloading room. I'm not going to say war room. That just seems a little not proper with everything that's going on. But joining me today is Mo. How you doing, Mo?
I'm doing good. I'm tucked away somewhere on the South Shore of Boston.
And we won't. Don't give up your location. It's all top secret, you know.
Boston. People don't know where that is.
Yeah, there's so many people over there. There's no way they'd be able to find you, I'm sure. So, Mo, we have had you on before a few times. The last time it was we had a good time and you asked a bunch of questions. And I think we will get to that. That'll be the last part of the show. And we are also kind of following your journey through you're getting multiple state permits and all becoming, I think, an instructor is what we decided. That's what you're doing, right?
Yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah.
And, as I've been talking to other people, I know other people have gone through this to becoming an instructor. And a lot of them they just take the instructor course and they just go. So it's interesting to me that I don't feel like that's what I want to do. I just don't want to jump into it. I'm trying to take as many classes and learn as much of everything that possibly surrounds it. So last Sunday, I took a Massachusetts state law class. Yesterday, I took Utah, Rhode Island, and Florida multi-state class. I'm going to be taking a tactical medical class. I could just take the instructor class like everyone else, but I feel like that's cheating. I feel like I need to know, I almost swore, I need to know my stuff before I jump into it and think I'm going to teach other people.
Right. It makes you a lot more well-rounded, and you be able to be more comfortable. You'll be able to be better at teaching your future students. So when you say instructor certification, I just want to make sure. So is that, we'll clarify it here. So the instructor certification, you said everyone just runs out and takes. Is that like an NRA or
yeah?
Okay, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah, we got the NRA, but then also up here,
you have to take state, don't you?
And see, that's where I'm not sure. I got to find that out. I know a lot of people who are NRA certified as an instructor. They got their little certificate with the eagle on it. That's nice. But then I also know that a lot of people have to get certified through the state police. And that's because you teach like the law portion too. So I think that might be, I'll find out for sure, that if you're going, in Massachusetts, you need an LTC, a license to carry. So in order to teach that class, you're teaching the law portion because you got to teach the storage laws, transportation laws, possession laws. We have all sorts of laws up here. They love laws up here. So I think if I were just going to teach like a beginner's pistol shooting class, I don't need to be certified by the state police.
It's only if you did the LTC classes.
Right. And so that's what I think it is. And I'm more interested in all this law stuff, all this safety stuff.
Right.
I think we have too many laws, but I'm telling you, there's so many, and they almost contradict each other in a way.
Yeah.
If you're not careful, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on the podcast, but I've joked around with other gun owners. I'm like, we're all just felons in waiting because we've probably all broken a law by accident up here because there's so many.
Oh, it's that way down here to a certain extent, depending on what you want to look at. It's very funny. I had a gentleman that when I first started Patriot Defense, he helped me with my permit classes down here, and I'm actually kind of jealous of you guys. Because
don't be.
Well, to a certain extent I am, because you can go to the state police, it sounds like, and get certified to be able to teach the LTC class, which means you as an instructor can teach the law portion. Down here, I can teach all kinds of classes. I can even teach a permit class, but I cannot get certified in any way to be able to teach the law portion. And I have some people that jump in and help me, and it costs me money to have them here, right? It is what it is. It's not a big deal. I kind of set their wages, right? But still, it would give me more freedom to be able to get certified to teach the law portion, because then I wouldn't rely on their schedule. And if
who do you bring in?
Who do I bring in now?
Yeah, like, is it a state cop? Is it a local cop?
No, mine is a county guy. He's a county deputy, but it has to be what it has to be. It has to be a law enforcement officer of post. Are you familiar with post at all? Post,
no.
Post is a police officer standards training something or other. I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it's like their school that they go to. So they have to be a certified law enforcement officer of post intermediate certification or higher. And it's actually kind of hard to find them. And they're out there, but not all of them are intermediate, right? They're not intermediate or higher. A lot of them stay just kind of at the base. I think it depends on how high up the ladder they want to move in their department, and then they have to go get some more schooling, but it's got to be intermediate level or higher. And that's okay, but my classes are based on them. If I have someone call me up and say, hey man, I work on the weekends, me and my wife, we want to get our permits, can we just come over like on Thursday and do a class? My answer is no, you can't, because I can't teach the law portion. I have to totally rely on him, and where they work all week and then they do it on the weekends, they're not going to want to give up all their weekends, to be away from their family. So
yeah, that definitely is a pain. I could see that. And
I can also use an Idaho attorney, but nothing against attorneys. They're kind of boring.
And
I actually had a fish. Yeah. I actually had I don't know what you guys call them over there, right? We have our fish and game guys, our fish and game cops,
Yeah, we got that.
And so I actually had a fish and game guy do it once, because they have to go to the post school or post academy as well. So I've used a little bit of everyone, and I try to use the same guy most of the time. And I totally forgot where I was going with this, but I think there was a question in there. There was a question in there somewhere.
Well, I got another question.
Sure.
Let me interrupt you and ruin your train of thought, because
I ruined it myself.
So what if an Idaho instructor is a cop or is a Leo? Can they teach their own law portion, or do they have to bring in, and does it have to be two different people?
No, they can teach their own, and that's what sucks, honestly, because there is a couple of guys around here that they can do it for less money than me. Because they are officers, they don't have to pay someone. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And honestly, I don't think that's right. I mean, so they either shouldn't be allowed to do that, because it's kind of like double dipping. Does that make sense? They shouldn't be allowed to do that, because they shouldn't have that kind of advantage on me. If you're going to do that, then this is the way it should be set up. I should either be able to stay the way I am now and just pay someone to do it, or I should have the option of going and taking a class or whatever and getting certified to do it myself, because that evens the playing field. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'll give you that. That's one good thing up here, that, we can teach the law portion in the class ourselves.
And frankly, I can teach the law portion better than the officer that does it. No, nothing against him. But I've sat there and listened to it how many times? I mean, I could do it I can recite it in my sleep. And sometimes the main officer that does it, he's been doing it with me for quite a while. He's pretty good. But when I have a replacement come in, they know the material, but they don't know the material. And 9 times out of 10, I stand up there and answer most of the questions anyhow. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's irritating to me as well.
No, cut me off. That's how Italians talk anyway. That's how we talk in my family. Now, a lot of the gun guys that I am with around here that are instructors, a lot of them are Leos or former Leos or military or lawyers. So they know the law and they teach the law to us. And they'll even say, if you run into a non-2A, pro 2A cop, he's not going to know the law.
Right.
So, we were going to get into talking about some of the little things I did. So in the math law class, they actually gave us a booklet that, oh my God, Todd, the Massachusetts laws for guns, it's like 500 pages.
Holy
it's
cow.
like 2 pages. Yeah, it's huge. This guy pulls out what looks like an old-fashioned phone book. I don't think they even make them anymore, but, a phone book. And it's a lawyer explaining the Massachusetts gun laws. It was a book that big as a phone book.
I bet that was boring.
Well, he didn't read. Yeah, but no, we didn't have to read it. But
He's showing you.
The instructor. Now this is getting all confusing. How am I going to say this? So I went to an instructor who taught the mass gun laws to civilians, and he threw that book on the table and he said, "Yeah, this is how you explain it." So he's summarizing it. There was no way we could get into absolute everything.
Right.
We mostly focused on possession because we have stupid possession laws, storage, transportation, which again, some of it contradicts itself.
Well,
I feel like
I'm going to interrupt you again because you're Italian and you don't mind it, but when you started saying that it like contradicts itself, that's kind of where I was going. I think I just recalled the laws are interesting. The guy that I started with and he'd actually flat up tell the class. the first guy, he now actually works for the FBI now, but he would tell the class, he goes, you always hear that innocent until proven guilty. And the class would go, yeah. He goes, that's not really true. You're guilty until we prove that you're innocent. That's why if we show up and you have an instance where you have been in a shooting and we show up and we can't really quickly look at the evidence and figure out what went on, that's why you go to jail for a couple days. Because we have to do that under a guise of public safety. And so essentially we just assume that you're guilty. So you're guilty until proven innocent. You're not innocent until proven guilty. If you were innocent until proven guilty, we wouldn't arrest you. And he just flat out said that. It's like, what? He goes, in a nutshell, that is not just for Idaho, that's everywhere. He goes, that is how the law works. That's how laws work. It's not
crazy.
Not like you think.
No, the burden of proof should be to prove me guilty, but you're right. When it comes to because guns are scary and they scare people. And
yes.
No, bad people are scary. Good people are not scary, regardless of what I'm holding in my hand.
Yeah.
As an Italian mother, I'm more scary holding a wooden spoon. You're more likely to feel the wrath of that than anything else.
Over here, it's a fly swatter, but yeah. You can gain a lot of speed with them fly swatters, man. You get
that's gonna sting.
Oh yeah, it leaves a mark. So, but you went and you actually you took what we call which class did you want to start with? The one that you took last week, or it doesn't matter? Do you want to just go in order?
Yeah, we'll go in order.
Okay,
so last Sunday I went, and so this is going to be a plug. Not that it matters to the Idaho listeners.
Yeah, plug away.
So in Massachusetts, we have the Gun Owners Action League of Massachusetts, GOAL is what we call it. And I'm so glad I found this organization. These people are the nicest, most helpful people ever. Like I say, I always say, I'm still new at this. I'm trying to learn it all. And these people jump to help each other, so supportive. So as a GOAL member, there's some classes that are discounted or some classes that are exclusive to the GOAL members. So this was a 4-hour seminar on Massachusetts law.
Gotcha.
And it was a very small class. I think there was only like 10 of us there. So there was a lot of time for question and answer. And I mean, we just covered so much stuff. My mind was boggling. I wrote down, I think, 8 pages of notes.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, we're talking about laws, but like, we have stupid laws. We have stupid laws. Like, one that I find absolutely ridiculous. I feel like if there should be a law about a gun, it should be to prevent violent crime. If it's not preventing violent crime, really, what's it doing? So one is you cannot store ammunition in anything except the original box it came in.
That's a law over there?
That is a Massachusetts law. I mean, what the?
I'm in trouble.
that made me ask, because I reload, and I asked, well, what about reloading? And he goes, keep the box it came in, and after you fill them up, put them back in the box.
That's ridiculous.
And they've asked, Goal has actually specifically asked, the legislature, what about this? And there's no answer. There's crickets that we'll get back to you, and no answer. So the law doesn't make sense.
Well, what they want to do, though, is it's just like anywhere else. I mean, just like they're trying to do on a national level, is they just want to come at you with all these stupid laws, right? And just little nitpicky laws to make it so difficult and so confusing that hopefully people just give up. And that's what they do. They want you to try to jump through hoops. They want to try to be able to, like, if you, maybe they're not going to come after you because your ammo wasn't in the right box, right? But if you do something and they're trying to, like, they think you've done something and they're trying to, like, work up a charge or a claim against you, they're going to go back and look at everything and they're going to get you on it. And hopefully they want to make it so difficult that you just throw your hands up in the air and say, this is not worth it. I mean, that's the way I see it anyway.
I think you're right, because, and I'm so glad I took this class, because even so, like, I'm still going through the stuff. I want to make sure that even though I don't agree with a lot of, I'm doing everything by the letter, because I am a law-abiding citizen. I'm actually a very good person. You wouldn't believe that if you know me in real life. You'd think I was a jerk. But, like, I don't want to break laws. I don't want to cause trouble. I don't want to be that bad person. But my Lord, this is ridiculous.
Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so you're going to break something, you're going to break a law, and so you're all of a sudden you're that gun owner that just likes to break laws. You're just that evil gun owner. They can't follow rules. I mean, that's what it's all about. Honestly, I'm almost 100% sure that's what it's all about. They're going to make you do something wrong. They're going to make you look to be like you're just some bad gun owning lawbreaker.
Right. And it's also, the people who make these laws, they have no clue.
No, they don't.
They don't know. Maybe they think that, okay, so to stick with ammunition, another one is, in Mass, you can't buy ammo without a license to carry.
Yeah, right. That's a lot of places back east. Yeah.
So, but it even gets a little bit crazier where, so like I say, I reload. So when I'm at the range, after I shoot, I pick up my brass, have it in a little sandwich baggie.
Yeah.
Throw it in my range bag. That's fine. You can't be in possession of empty brass without an LTC.
What?
I'm not even making this up. No, I wish I were.
Are there? Is there like a case where they've actually got somebody on that? I'm sure there has been sometime. But it's probably not like everyday common occurrence, I would imagine, right?
I don't know, but yeah.
That's
so
nuts.
It's funny because I think about when I was a kid. The local parades, like say for the 4th of July, and you get the guys shooting the blanks, and the shells come out and they throw them to the kids in the. The kids sitting along. And I think about that now. I'm like, what's going on there now?
They're all felons.
All these poor little kids, bringing them. Like, it's just empty. It's a piece of metal. Glass.
It's components to make ammunition, which is bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I can understand there's laws on, how many prime is and how much powder and, how much of that you can own. And it's
what? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, do people really follow that? Do they just, like, how do they know, right? Unless they search your house, how do they really know? Do you have to have, like, do they track that when you purchase stuff over there? Like, do they, like, where's your LTC card? Let me look at your LTC card. Okay, you bought 8 pounds of powder in the last 4 months. You can't buy anymore. Do they track that?
It's not 8 pounds. I'm trying
whatever
to find the
8 pounds.
It's like no, it's like 4,999 pounds.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot of powder. Yeah. That's a lot of powder.
Yeah. So it's a lot of powder, but you need to. You don't know. there's a story how this one guy lived alone, right, in an apartment.
Sure.
Very nice guy, law-abiding, blah, 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 had a lot of guns. Didn't lock him up. He just had him around his apartment. Nobody ever went into his apartment. Single guy, no visitors, whatever, it's fine. Well, the maintenance guy in his building went into his apartment for something, saw the guns, called the cops. Guy ends up going to jail for years and loses now his right to ever own another firearm.
Because they weren't locked up?
Because they weren't locked up.
And so you guys have a law that says you have to lock them up?
Oh, yeah.
And so that actually came up. That was where was that shooting? That Michigan shooting, that school shooting just recently. And they went after the parents, right? You should have locked that gun up. So I think I've done a whole podcast on this and many radio shows where people just kind of looked at me and shook their head because they don't understand or they don't agree with me. So everyone should be responsible enough to lock guns up. And I guess, if you're living alone, I get that, right? But honestly, you should lock your firearms up because if someone does break in, all of a sudden you've armed bad guys and they're going to take those guns and do bad things, right? But there needs to be a line in the sand on the government coming in and telling you exactly what you have to do with those. Does that make sense? I don't like that. I don't understand that.
That's where I am too. I follow the laws because I was raised to obey authority, whatever, even though a lot of them I don't agree with. But that sort of thing does make me nervous. If I'm around my house and I'm, carrying a gun with me, I'm wearing it, that's fine. Once I go to sleep now, I have to lock it up. If someone burns into my house in the middle of the night, am I going to be able to get to my gun in time before I'm hurt? So then it's like...
That's the one that I would ignore, honestly.
That's the one where, at least they have those safes that you just touch and the fingerprint and all that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything except I'm a law-abiding citizen on the podcast. But, if you have storage laws like that, there's a lot of people. I mean, women. I mean, how many women have their apartments broken into, and they are assaulted, they're sexually assaulted, they're murdered? If they have a chance to protect themselves, I agree that guns should be locked up when not in use so they don't get stolen, so they don't go into the wrong hands, so the kids don't get at them. Use common sense. I guess there's not enough common sense.
Well, even those safes, those little safes take time. Right? I mean, it depends on if you hear someone kicking open your door, you probably have time to get that gun out, right? But if you are a deep sleeper and you hear some noise and you wake up and there's someone in your doorway, you don't have time to get the gun out of the safe. You probably don't have time to get the gun off your nightstand, even if it's not in a safe, but you're more likely to be able to do that than get it out of a safe.
Right.
And so, it's just whatever. Old Leroy was a good kid. He just liked to break into people's houses. He didn't deserve to be shot. I mean, that's exactly what they think, right? I mean, to a certain extent.
Yeah. Oh, you love this stuff more than human life. No, I care more about. Yeah, I do care more about my stuff than other people.
Right.
It shouldn't be breaking into my. Yeah. So I mean, they got the cable locks, trigger locks, safes. You can do any of that, but you gotta if it's not under your immediate control, it's gotta be locked up.
You can't wear it down there to throw tea in the harbor.
And it was okay. So here's my rant. I'm not gonna go ranting.
No, rant, man, rant.
Boston is the cradle of liberty.
I know.
We caused so much havoc. What was it, 300 years ago, 400 years ago? I don't know. I'm bad at math. You know what it was,
right?
God, John Adams, Sam Adams, all those guys must be like, what did Boston become? Man, those wimps will do anything. I mean, we had a mask mandate here in Boston where you couldn't go indoors unless you had a mask and you could prove you were fully vaccinated. I haven't been to Boston in months because I can't go into those buildings.
You can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere. And it makes me worried about all the businesses that, might be closing or whatever. But I'm like, this is too many laws. Too many. I mean, I understand we got to be safe. Okay, I shouldn't be talking about the vaccine. That's not what we're here for. We're here for guns. Let's go back to guns. Let's go back to stupid laws.
Okay,
let me ask you this. How many states, okay, we got 50 states. How many states can you own a Glock? 50 states, okay? Right?
Right.
How many states in which you can buy a Glock? 50 states. How many states where a gun store can sell you a Glock? 49.
You can't. Can you not get one in Mass?
I can own a Glock. I can buy a Glock. A gun store cannot sell me a Glock.
Then how the hell do you get the Glock?
Unless I'm a Leo. I have to buy it off someone.
Why are they
Private sale.
So back this up. What? What?
God, I don't know.
Besides the aesthetic qualities that don't exist when you're talking about Glocks, what do they have against Glocks? Is it like an old law where they think it's like, remember when Glocks were first a thing? I don't know if you remember. And, everyone's going to take guns into the airport and
the plastic guns.
They're plastic. I mean, is that what it? That is amazing.
I don't know. But
so you can own one, but you can't buy one there.
Well, I can buy one. A gun store cannot sell it to me.
So you have to buy it from a private party.
The law is against the FFLs and the gun stores, not against a private citizen.
Freaking stupid.
So next time I go to a local gun shop, I'll try to remember to take you a picture because there will be a shelf, in the little bakery cabinet, the glass cabinet with all the handguns, and there'll be a shelf with the Glocks, and there will always be a sign that says for Leos.
Well, they're saving you a lot of headache because you don't need to own a Glock anyway, but it's still a dumb law.
Oh, dude, I made the mistake of shooting my friend's Glock a few weeks ago. I'm in love.
Oh, that was
it was really nice.
We had this conversation, and it was a Gucci Glock, and you don't need one.
It was really nice.
You don't need one.
Really nice.
They got crap. Well, it's a Gucci Glock. So Glock is like one of the only guns that you got to like buy. And then you got to spend about $1,000, put $1,000 of parts into it to make it good. And so if your friend did that, it was probably a really nice gun, but he's probably have so much stuff he's going to listen to this podcast or something and correct me, but he's probably put so many parts and so many things into it. It's not a Glock anymore.
Joe, you're listening to this podcast and you're going to sell me a gun. That's what you're going to do. Just as is. I love it. Oh, I shot so good with it. It was beautiful.
It's because it's not a Glock. That's why. Because it's so much changed out on it, man.
It's a Joe original. I don't care what it is. I want it. That was a nice gun.
Oh, bleh.
But yeah, so I can't just go to a store and buy. And that's the thing. Massachusetts is just so stupid. And this is why you need to have a 4-hour class with an expert to teach you. By the way, this one interesting thing though that I learned. No, this doesn't affect me personally. In Massachusetts, you can have a medical marijuana card,
right?
And something I've always heard people say is, well, if you have a medical marijuana card, you can't have an LCC, you can't own a gun, and that is actually not true. You can actually have both because the whole marijuana thing is a federal law. It's not a state law.
Unless your state decides against it, right? And
right.
Yeah, so Idaho, if you have a medical marijuana card, you cannot have a concealed carry permit. You can't have a firearm at all. But Idaho doesn't. We just barely. We don't even get into the drug thing because I got some crazy views on that. But Idaho just barely allowed, I think there's 6 farmers this year that get to grow hemp. I mean, they stopped 2 trucks that were actually transporting hemp. No THC. I mean, it's hemp, right? It's like a fiber. It's a building product. That's what it is. And They pulled them over, was it last year or the year before? And they tried to convict and sue and fine and you name it. So Idaho's very anti-marijuana. But, I mean, you look at some of those other states, I would imagine, I don't know, I would imagine, let's say Colorado, right? You probably are okay. If they're okay with it and they've legalized it in that state, you're okay. Federally, you're not. But,
right. So if you're on federal property, that's different.
Right.
But
well, you got to think that you go and you purchase a firearm. That's the next form is a federal form you're filling out. So do you lie on it?
no, you don't lie on it.
Well, what does it ask? It
It's been
asks.
so long since I.
I believe, and I could be a little rusty on it, and someone's probably going to correct me, and that's fine. I need corrected most of the time. Ask my wife, but I think there's one that says, "Do you hold a medical marijuana card? Do you whatever?" And I don't know because I don't, so I've never marked yes. But it makes me wonder. Too bad Mark wasn't here. He could tell us. If you said yes to that, I wonder if they'd stop you from getting a gun, since that's a federal deal. So my thoughts are, if you marked yes and they wouldn't let you get a gun, but you lie and say no because your state's okay with it, you've essentially lied on a federal form.
Remind me about this, and I'll follow up, because I now know people who have both.
Right.
And I'm sure they've bought guns since they left the American.
And I'm just curious, because if they say no, they're breaking federal law. And then it
Right.
says on there, you got to sign. Are you sure that everything you said on here was true? Because if it's not, that can be whatever. You can be prosecuted for that. So I don't know. It is what it is. I don't care if people have medical marijuana cards. Do what you want to do. But it's like a catch-22. Do you see what I'm saying? You either say yes and you possibly don't get it. I'm not sure on that. You don't get it. Or you lie and say no and you get it, but you're breaking federal law.
So, I don't know what my political leanings are anymore. I'm so confused. I believe a little bit of every point of view. But I guess I think it's the Republican in me, maybe. Republicans like the strong state government and weaker federal government. Am I right with that? I don't know.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I think we've talked before, and I consider myself a libertarian. I'm all for states' rights, and if you don't like it here, you move to another state that fits your state's rights, and the states will do what they want to do.
Yeah, I think I'm mostly libertarian, but I think it's the Republican side of me.
Right-leaning libertarian.
Right, it's the part that says, stronger states. So I would hope if I were queen of Massachusetts, because now it's going to be a dictatorship under my rule, I would say if we give you a medical marijuana card and we give you an LTC, you should be able to check off, yes, I have a medical marijuana card, and still get a gun, because you've already been granted your rights by the benevolent government.
Oh, that's a horrible phrase.
I gotta stop getting political here.
That's okay.
Stick to the guns, Mo.
Nah, we do that sometimes. So that was a pretty interesting law class that you took then.
It was. Learned a lot, took a lot of notes. Gonna have to go through, reread all of this again, because it's just so much.
Yeah.
And I like that. So the guy that I do classes with, that I help him, he's a lawyer, but he's also former Leo. So he knows the law,
well,
and
sure.
he can read through all this gibberish and understand it.
Right.
So when somebody asks him a question in class, he knows. Plus he's been doing this for so many years. He just knows the answer. I want to be able to have those answers. I want to be able to. I really like on Facebook, in a Facebook group, when somebody makes a comment about a gun law in Massachusetts, I'd like to go in and name the chapter and section with that exact information, because to be able to cite the exact statutory law, there's so many case study laws, that's different. You can't cite all of those, but there's so much misinformation.
If you like all that stuff, you can come up here and learn it and come help me teach classes. And then I don't have to worry about knowing that stuff. You could just keep me in line.
All right. Well, I'll try to learn all the Idaho after I learn all the Massachusetts.
I guarantee you there's a lot less.
I think so. So now that's a good segue, because now yesterday I went and took a multi-state, so Utah, Florida, and Rhode Island.
And you were super nervous.
Okay. I was super nervous about the Rhode Island qualifier. Probably most your listeners aren't going to know about Rhode Island. It's the qualification is 25 yards. Yards. You like that? You like how I say that?
Yards.
You want to make fun of me for that?
That's where you park your car, isn't it?
I was going to say 75 feet, but I wanted to say yards for you. 25 yards, right?
Did it take place over in PD? Peabody?
Peabody. No, Peabody's up on the North Shore. I'm on South Shore.
I'm kidding.
We'll do that someday. We'll talk about all the names of cities in Massachusetts, and I'll teach you how to say them right.
Okay, that works.
All right. So, 25 yards. The target is about, I think they said 28 inches by 28 inches.
That's not what you thought going into it, though. We gotta start over. We need to hear the story. We need to hear what you thought,
okay.
And so you got to build this up, Mo.
Okay, so I want a Utah license because it's damn cool. That's why I don't travel much, but I want the Utah.
Utah's not cool, but that's okay. Their license might be good.
Well, the license. I want we'll talk about Utah. We'll talk about why I want to move there afterwards. But for now, I want the Utah license. Just so happened, a friend of a friend is an instructor down here. He's offering a multi-state. He's doing the Utah with the Florida and the Rhode Island. Perfect. Sign up for it. All right. So then I find out Rhode Island has a qualification. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I know how to shoot a gun. That's fine. And then I hear it's 75 feet, an 8-inch circle, and you got to hit 30 rounds into that 8-inch circle. I've never shot that far. I've only ever shot as far as 25 feet. And I'm thinking, why the hell do I need to shoot 75 feet with a handgun? If there's a bad guy 75 feet away, I'm running in the other direction. I ain't shooting them.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous. And it makes me want to go down to Rhode Island and like just start yelling at people and say, you were dumb for having this. This is ridiculous. So, again, it doesn't make sense.
Isn't that that's a further distance than what Rhode Island is across, isn't it? I mean,
seriously. So you got to be able to shoot someone from one end border to the other. I mean, it doesn't make sense, and that's why I have a problem with it. But like, there's no way I'm hitting an 8-inch circle. So I'm shaking right now, just remembering. I was so nervous, and I mean, I was bugging you. I was bugging a lot of my other friends. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to fail it. Luckily, one guy told me, he goes, if you fail the qualification part, you can retake it again. You just need an NRA instructor to sign off on the target. So if you don't do it tomorrow, just practice and get it done eventually. So I'm like, okay,
right, that's
not so bad. But then I go, and it's a 28-inch, 28 by 28 target with, the circles on it, looking like a dartboard.
A quick Google search would have yielded you that correct information.
Okay, I almost swore at you again because I did Google search and I couldn't seem to find anything definite. So I hate that you found it right away.
In like a couple minutes.
I guess Google just hates me. I don't know, but it's based on a scoring. So you got 30 rounds in 10 minutes, and you got to score a 195. 300's perfect.
Gotcha.
So 75 feet, it's really far away.
Oh, it is. So what were you shooting?
I was shooting, and I'm so stupid. All right?
No,
so not only did I not look it up, not only did I not practice, but I decide, well, I'm going to shoot my subcompact.
Oh, Lord. I won all day yesterday. I was going to ask you, and I was like, no, she's busy in class. I was like, I wonder what she took. I hope it wasn't the smallest gun she has. And it was.
Yeah, it was because that's the one that...
that was the easy?
No, it's a SIG P320.
Oh, okay.
And it's a subcompact. They don't make that anymore. When they came out with the P365, they retired the 320 subcompact.
Gotcha.
It basically looks the same. It's the same size. They just, I don't know, gave it a new name, I guess. I don't know. Ask the people at SIG why they did it. I love, and I know you make fun of it, the 320, but I love that gun. That's a really good gun to shoot. But I shoot the full size when I shoot like my buddies' guns. They have like the M17s all tricked out with the competition triggers on it. And, I'm like, I'm going to get me one of these. the gun's so big. I'm 5 feet tall. I can't conceal carry that. So I'm like, well, I'll get the carry version of the 320.
Right.
So I buy a used subcompact, and I hate it.
But you took it
I
to
hate
shoot.
it. Because I hate the gun. I love the trigger on it. It's a flat trigger.
Right.
That's a cool trigger. I like the trigger, but I hate the small guns.
Gotcha.
It's like do you remember in the Batman movie that came out in the 90s with Jack Nicholson as the Joker? You remember that gun that the Joker pulls out? And the barrel, the barrel like 3 feet long. That's the type of gun I need to shoot.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway.
So you got up there. You were nervous.
I was nervous. And I'm shooting this gun because this is the one I've been practicing with the most because I'm trying to like it. I'm trying to get used to it. I'm trying to, build a relationship with it. So I'm like, I'll shoot the SIG. Well, I passed.
Well, that's good.
It wasn't, so that was good.
Did you? So no, you're forgetting the details. So
well, I don't know what details you're talking about, Todd. I think I summed that up pretty nice.
No.
You're gonna make fun of me?
No, I'm not gonna make fun of you. So what? So you were shooting that gun. You were trying to qualify, and what did you do? Did you just 3 10-round magazines and bang, 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 and you're done, or did you shoot 3 rounds at a time, or did they have you shoot one magazine and then you could pause for a second and then reload, or did you shoot them fast? Did you shoot them slow? Do you remember paying attention to your trigger press while you were doing it? I mean, tell me what was going through your head.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you all that. So there were 3 of us shooting at a time.
Okay.
And so when the instructor said, all right, you can begin, so we had 10 minutes. So the 2 other people on the line with me only had 1 magazine. So they would shoot their 10, have to reload. Oh, so there's another Massachusetts thing. Magazines can only hold 10 rounds.
Stupid mag capacity laws. Yep.
So, but it makes it easy to count when you're doing the 30.
I can carry 5. I can carry 5 guns and 600 rounds on me if I want. In Idaho.
Okay. Yeah. No, up here they hate us. So they had to, they would shoot their 10, reload. Luckily, I had 3 magazines, so they're full. So, you got 10 minutes to do. So, high level view, I shot, and then if my arms started to feel tired, I'd go low ready just to rest my arms.
Yep.
And there's a funny story too. See, I'm so bad at this. I'm bad at telling stories.
You're good.
I'm squirrel.
I'm here to get the details out of you.
So we're shooting outside, which originally we weren't supposed to do. But there was, at the range we were shooting at, somebody booked the indoor range, but didn't actually put it on the calendar.
Oh, gotcha.
So the indoor range was filled up. So we ended up having to go outside. And it was, I don't know, maybe 21 degrees out.
It's beautiful.
It's not bad. I mean, that's what it is up here. But, it kind of stinks when because of my nerves, and I'm shooting a distance I've never shot before. I'm nervous as it is. And now, by the way, it's 20 degrees out. And Todd texts me and says, hey, make sure you don't shoot with your gloves on.
I was just helping.
I didn't shoot with my gloves on.
That's good.
And I passed. So you helped. You helped, I guess.
Do you remember, we talked about the trigger press, right? And I say that all the time, but being down here, the one piece of advice I'd give you is just trigger press. It's all in that trigger press. So do you remember pressing the trigger correctly, or?
Mostly, yes. Mostly I was very, very conscious of it because I had learned from an instructor once. We were doing this thing, and he said, okay, bring the slack to the wall. When you get to the wall, pretend that, when you lean back in a chair and you're trying to stay balanced so you don't fall over.
Yep.
So what he had us do was we'd get to the wall, and then we would do that. We'd kind of go back and forth as if we were balancing ourselves. So then when, the bang went off,
gotcha.
You were not expecting it. And so, and when we were doing that practice with that guy that time, he had put some snap caps in our magazine.
Uh-huh.
So when the click would happen, the gun didn't move at all.
Yes.
So that's how you were doing it right. So that's what I was doing. I figured I got 10 minutes, and most of my trigger press was going to the wall and then just going, back and forth balancing, and then the gun would go off and I wasn't expecting it.
Right. So how long did it take you to do it?
Oh, I don't know. I was the first one done on my line. I didn't time myself. I mean,
Awesome. That's awesome.
We were all less than the 10 minutes, I assume.
Well, I'm proud of you. You passed. And you got like a 2:22? Is that what you got?
I did. I got 20. And of course, it's like, that's low. But it's passed.
Yeah.
I mean, I passed. And again, shooting a stupid subcompact. I didn't practice, the distance. So if I, when I requalify with Rhode Island, I'll probably, do some shooting ahead of time and make sure I choose a smarter gun, see if I can increase my score just for my own personal,
When do you have to requalify?
I think it's good for 4 years.
Oh, wow. 'Cause
Rhode Island. I'll have to,
ours is good our enhanced is good for 5 years. And you just have to renew. If you miss your renewal date and it expires before you renew, you have to retake the class again. But if not, you just go down to the DMV and they take your picture and make sure all the information's the same and send you home with a new license.
yeah, I don't go to Rhode Island very often, so I'm not necessarily concerned
Right.
about that, but it's just the whole idea. And I think it's also one of those things where I want to have as many, concealed licenses, even in the states like Utah, you don't need it, but to have as many almost as a way of I'm adding my name to the numbers to show that, look at this, here's a female name that cares about owning guns, who wants to be able to conceal. I just feel like, it's just another drop of water in the bucket to show this is actually something that is wanted by the people.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. And you like to get education and you like to do those kinds of things. So I think that's just right up your alley.
Yeah. When I found out the day of the qualification, again, next time I'm going to be much smarter in my choice of gun, is whatever caliber you qualify with is the largest caliber you can carry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
License.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next time we're going to be shooting a 45
Oh,
and
geez.
practicing.
Yeah. Take out a loan. You'll need it for the ammo.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, it's only 30 rounds.
So you can carry
like-
up to that caliber, just not above it.
Yeah.
Well, just go down there with a 50 cal Desert Eagle. You'll be good.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
The Eagle.
that would
We'll get it done.
That'd be amazing. So congratulations, you passed. And so what other classes you got coming up that you're going to take in this adventure you're going on this year?
I want to take a tactical medical class.
That's
There's
right.
lots of first aid classes around, but I want to take, like a tactical one with, what do you do about a sucking chest wound?
Okay.
I want to learn
It's like
that stuff.
like a really intense, like stop the bleed type of class.
Yeah. And stop the bleed. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking about that, and it just seems like they're never around me, which
Right.
is strange because, like I say, I'm Boston. Like, there's a lot of people around here. You would think that where there's more people living, but it seems like the classes are like 3 hours away in a little mountain town.
Gotcha.
It's not very helpful to me.
Gotcha. So did you have a list of, we started a list of questions. Do you have any more questions for me? Or people
I
like to
do.
know my deep, dark secrets.
I do. I got questions for you. And we're going to go way back to little Todd.
Oh, my God.
What was the first gun? Like, what started all this? What was your first gun that you remember?
Shooting, ever.
Yeah, the gun, the time that you said, I like this. What was it?
Yeah, as a boy, I just always liked shooting guns. So I think, probably just my BB gun. I don't even know what kind of BB gun it was, right? I mean, that was way back in the day. And I remember going out and I don't know, I don't even know what they're called. They were like these little pink rubber like men. They're little. We called them muscle men.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to line those up and shoot at them, right? And I remember my dad worked a lot, quite a bit, and so I was, doing a lot of this stuff kind of myself, right? But I remember he had an old wooden sawhorse, and he went and got some fishing line, and he took tin can lids, and he cut them into different sizes and different shapes. Some were big, full, tin can lids. Some were little diamonds or little circles or triangles. And he hung them from the sawhorse. And we had a big open kind of field, like a hill, like a sagebrush hill behind me. This is when I lived in Oregon. And I remember spending lots of time out in the backyard shooting those. You'd shoot them, you'd hit them with your BB, and they'd spin around, and then they'd settle back in again, and you could shoot it again or shoot another one. I remember doing that. And I do remember there's this one experience. That we had Tonka trucks out there, right? And poor Todd had to lie to his parents for a long time about this. Yeah. I'm going to laugh because this is like I didn't obey the safety rules. Okay, so we had this sliding glass door, and we had. Sorry, all you animal lovers out there. We had this. Oh no! We had this cat, and I saw this cat. This cat's name was Blackie, and I was like, I'm gonna shoot the cat. I'm just whatever. I'm a kid. I'm like little. I'm like, how old was I? I had to be in like grade school. And so I turned around. The cat was behind me because I'd been shooting these little tin can lids. I turned around to shoot the cat. I missed the cat. And I heard a crack. And I was like, oh, well, I must have hit the house. And so I turned back around and started shooting the tin can lids. And then I heard my mom calling for me. What did you do? I went walking. Well, I think she was a little louder, a little meaner than that. I went walking toward her, and I sat there in disbelief as that entire sliding glass door was cracking and popping, and the entire thing into little quarter-sized pieces. And it just, as I'm standing there, and she's like, "What did you do?" I'm watching it crack and pop and spider web, and then it just falls out. I'm like, oh, oops. And they go, how did you do that? Well, I was shooting at the Tonka trucks, and it must have ricocheted.
Oh, my God. So, like that Christmas story where Ralphie lies about the icicle, that's like you right there.
Yeah, it's like me. Yep, that was me.
Did you ever shoot Blackie?
I tried. I missed. I wasn't a very good shot. I don't do rifles. Give me a pistol. I probably could have managed it, but no. Blackie lived died old, so we're good.
Good. That's terrible.
Oh,
it's terrible.
You asked.
So what about a hand? I did ask. Now, okay, so now what's the first handgun then? Because I know a few people who said that they've never shot a handgun. They've never adult men who have never shot a handgun. I'm fascinated by that.
Good grief, let me think. Ask me another question. I'll answer that one, but I have to think because let me think. Yeah, the answer that I'm probably going to give you might shock you. So go ahead and just ask me something else. I just got to make sure I'm correct.
Oh, might shock me. Okay. All right. Well, so I was going to ask, depending on what kind of gun it was.
Okay, well,
I was hoping you were going to say. I was hoping you'd say it was a Glock or a 1911.
No, well, I'll just go ahead and answer it right now because I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So I went all the way through, shooting BB guns, shooting at 22 rifles and Cub Scouts and all that good stuff, shotguns, clay pigeons, you name it. Honestly, I don't remember myself shooting a handgun until the very first handgun that I purchased for when I got my concealed carry, and it was a excuse me, what was it? It was, I can't remember what country it came out of. It was a foreign gun. It wasn't anything common. It was chambered it was a 9x18 Makarov, and they called it a FEG, FEG, PA63, and it was a clone of a 9x18 mock. So I'm trying to think of what country that came out of. I can't even. Some weird oddball country.
So that was for your permit. What state was that?
That was in Idaho.
Okay. Oh, so
so I was married then. I was married
yeah.
then. Yeah.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, and I had it for quite a while, and then I moved to Kansas, and I got my permit down there, and then from there I ended up buying a Springfield Armory XD 9mm subcompact, and so that was my first more modern type of gun. And I wish I still had that FEG PA63. I actually traded it for a rifle that I got duped on because the rifle is crap. Stock was broke, but I wish I had that gun. That was an interesting little gun. So there you go. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good. So, like I was teasing, I was going to say I was hoping it was a 1911 or a Glock. So what I noticed is it seems like the range is the people who love the Glocks hate the 1911s, and the 1911 guys hate the Glocks, but you hate both.
They actually should, if you like Glocks, you should like 1911s because they almost have the same grip angle to them. But they're, the different styles of gun. I've shot 1911s. I can shoot 1911s. It's not a problem, but they're not as maybe reliable or as dependable, right? If I were to show you, and maybe you've seen on Facebook or whatever, a picture of my carry gun, it's kind of, I won't say it's wore out. The gun's not wore out, but like the finish is fading in spots, right? Because it's in and out of the holster, and I use it. And you know what? I'm not saying that a 1911 you can't do that with one. I'm not saying that, but it's not for me. I want more rounds, and I want something. 1911s, a lot of them look really pretty, right? They look really not.
It's a beautiful gun, yeah.
They can be, right? I'm not going to carry it. I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. And honestly, if I've got a gun that's going to sit in the safe, why even have it?
Now, what about that they have like the 1911 style in a 9 now?
Yeah, that's not a 1911. That's a 1911. That's like an imposter. That's like a 1911 variant, because the 1911 actually, people think actually came out in 45, but I think it was actually like 38 Super, I think, is the caliber that first came out in the 1911, I believe, but everyone knows that it's the 45. So I will be honest with you, a lot of the 1911s, even chambered in 9mm, they just don't work right. Because that style of gun, that action, that 1911 action was made pretty much for the 45. And it's made to cycle, and it doesn't even do that well all the time, So I don't like the 9mm variants, if that's what you're asking. I'm horrible.
You're not horrible. You got your opinions. Well, you're horrible anyway, but I'm not supposed to make fun of you in your podcast.
You can do whatever you want.
I can do whatever I want. Okay, so you start getting into handguns after you're married, and that's fun, and you like that. Then you decide to become an instructor.
Right.
So I know for me, I decided to become an instructor, one, because I'm a dork that really loves digging into all the little minutiae and the rules and the details, and I want to share that with other people. And because I see women are very intimidated by men, especially if something has happened to a woman in the past. She wants a gun to protect herself. She's so much more comfortable with me. Even though, like I say, people who know me, I'm kind of a jerk. I'm not like warm and fuzzy nurturing, but I guess I'm a 5-foot-tall woman, so I don't look scary.
Right.
So for me, I want to be an instructor because I want to see other women empowered.
Right.
You do empower women with your Thursday night class, and I appreciate that about you so much. But when you first became an instructor, why did you want to do it? It's not for the money. I know that.
No, it ain't for the money. I made more at my day job, a lot more. I got to the point where I got the handgun when I lived in Idaho, and I'll be honest, I'm just like everyone else when they first get one, or most people, right? I didn't go out and shoot it really. A little bit here or there. I didn't know anything. I barely knew how to hold it, to grip it, to any of it. Most of the time when I would go out and shoot it, I'd have to actually sit down and remember how to make it work, And I mean, I'm seriously, because I didn't go out and take any classes, because even here in Idaho at the time, that wasn't a thing, right? I got into the whole concealed carry thing before it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing. There was a point where concealed carry took off like crazy, and I was there before that. But I moved to Kansas, and I didn't know a soul out there, just me and my wife and my kiddos. And my neighbor, we lived in town, he'd let me go out on his cattle ranch. He had a place out there. He'd let me go out there and shoot. And so I would teach myself. And then that was back when online forums were just this huge thing, right? I don't know if you were ever part of those or even were familiar with those, but there was one of them was, what was it? Like concealed carry or gun something. It was massive national forum, right? And they also had it broke down into different state sections. And so I got on there and I learned a lot just talking with people on there, how to grip it, how to do this, how to do that. Met some people online. That sounds weird. Met some people online and I corresponded via email. That was even before texting was really a thing, right? And so I corresponded via email, and, I taught them some stuff. They taught me some stuff, and I just kind of figured it all out on my own. And I got to the point where I liked going out and shooting so much that I got really passionate about taking out other people that were interested or were scared, that wanted to go and wanted to learn or whatever. I was taking them out and helping them. So fast forward, I ended up moving back to Idaho. And I was doing the same thing here. And then I thought one day, I was like, well, I should probably go get some what I called street cred, right? So I went and I took an NRA instructor, handgun, instructor certification course. And yay, it's an NRA course. No offense, Mo, but you know how you know my thoughts, right?
I know how you feel. That's fine.
It's okay. And I mean, it's a good place to start. And so I went and I took that, and that was great. I had a little cred. I thought maybe I could help more people and be a little more knowledgeable, kind of like you taking a bunch of classes right now. And Idaho introduced the enhanced permit. And my friends, it was going to be a required class, right? If you wanted, you have to come take a required state required class and do all this stuff. And my friends were talking about it, and we were going to go get this permit. And I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "Count me in. I want to get that permit too." And they're like, "Well, no, you don't understand, Todd. They've made this a law now, and it'll go into effect in 2 months. Within 2 months, you need to figure out what you need to do to be, what you need to get done to be able to teach us that class, and we'll get some more people and we'll pay you to teach us that class so we don't have to go take it from a stranger."
Nice.
And that is essentially how Patriot Defense was born. So I remember it was the middle of winter, super cold. I had access to an indoor range. That range is still up and running as we speak, just a couple miles away from my house, but it probably needs to be knocked over and burned to the ground. It's old. The air ventilation is very, very, very poor. You leave there like you've got black lung and you're blowing black stuff out of your nose for a week. And I've been in there with enough shooters long enough, because I had some classes where I had 30, 40, 50 people in a class, where I left there, and as soon I had a major headache, and then as soon as I stepped outside and that fresh air hit me, it was like my head was going to explode, right? But anyhow, the very first class I had there, I remember going in there. They have an old coal furnace, and there was 15 or 16 people, and there's a pretty good turnout for my first class. I had an idea what I was doing. I had built a PowerPoint. So it was freezing. It was freezing cold in there. We're all huddled in there around these pool tables, because it's a part pool club too. And we're all just bundled up, shaking, and I did my presentation. The law enforcement officer came and did his, and then we went out on the range, and I was nervous, and it got done, and everyone was happy, and everyone left, and I was like, I think I could do that again. And so that's kind of where it was born. And I spent a few years just doing the permit classes. And a couple people asked for a couple private classes here or there, so I did those as well. Not, just kind of brand new to it, right? No one really to mentor me in what to do. I just made it happen. And then I thought, well, I could stay a little bit busier by doing more private classes, and it took a few more years for me to convince people to take more private classes, because around here everything's about 5 years behind, it seems like. And here we are today. Is that a good story for you?
That's a great story. I do agree with you about how hard to get people to, and me and you totally agree on this, and all day long we'll complain. People don't take enough classes, and it's one thing to go to the range and have fun and dump out your mag, that's
Right.
fun and all. But what does that do? If you're doing one thing wrong and you keep doing that one thing wrong every time you go out, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Once in a while, you need some real instruction.
Yes.
Things change. How many people do we know that are holding it with a teacup?
Yeah, that's no good. I see that. I see that a
No.
lot. And then even if they are gripping it correctly at the beginning, once you start mag dumping it, if you got the correct grip, but you're like not tight enough, you're not locked in, you start mag dumping real quick, and the gun bounces around everywhere, and the next thing you know, you're teacupping it. That's the way
Yep.
it works, and you wonder why. Well, after that first shot, all my shots were crappy after that. I'm like, yeah, I see that. Do you want some help? No, I'm okay. Okay, whatever. Move on with
and
life.
slapping the trigger. I mean, we're all guilty of doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm always, especially because during 2020, during all the riots and everything, a lot of people, all over the country, a lot of people started to buy their first gun ever. And up here, everyone was getting the LTC, and people were buying the guns. And I'm really worried to think of how many guns were purchased 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago anyway, and has just been sitting in a case in somebody's bedroom, not touched.
Yeah, and probably 80% of them, to be honest with you. I mean, and I know there's people that take my permit class. They bring their guns, they shoot their guns in the permit class, and then they probably never shoot them again. And they probably, it doesn't make me excited to think about that, but to be honest with you, they probably don't even carry them, right? So I guess
Right, I'd rather them not.
Yeah, if you're not going to practice, don't carry.
That's a very good point. I guess I'd rather them not. It's just if they ever think that they do need to carry it, or they ever grab it in self-defense in their house,
they're going to pick it up, and they're going to decide they don't know what they're doing with it, and then they're going to call and take a class.
Yeah, I hope
that's
so.
what they're
I hope
gonna
they
do.
call and take a class.
Yeah.
So that's a soapbox we'll get on. Okay, so now we know the history of Patriot Defense. I love that, and I know you're doing some big things. You got goals for the future of Patriot Defense. I am a huge fan of the TikToks. You are killing the TikToks. They are so much fun. I love watching them. And I love that you put them on Facebook too, because I know TikTok is removing some of yours, so at least we all get to see them on the Facebook page.
And I've been criticized about the TikToks, right? And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I feel really silly making them. I feel like I'm 14. I feel like I'm my 14-year-old daughter. I feel like a 14-year-old girl making these sometimes, honestly. But here's the thing is and I think I talked about this even a couple weeks ago, but I want to be part of social media. I want to try to, and I've made huge strides in my social media coverage. And without talking about what's going on in Ukraine right now, but this has opened my eyes up this weekend or this week, right? TikTok, and I knew it was huge, right? But it's huge for a lot of reasons. There's so much information on there. There's so many people on there doing all kinds of stuff. And as silly as it seems, I can make one of those videos and I can make someone scratch their head. Maybe I can make them think. Maybe I can make them laugh, and they'll follow me, right? And then I can educate them slowly over time, or maybe some of it's just pure entertainment. It is what it is. But I like TikTok because they've got the way that I can get in there, make a quick, at the very longest, 3-minute video, right? 3-minute video. I can try to get my point across really quickly, and then I can use that on other platforms. And it just makes a different way of getting, because I can use Facebook. I can make a TikTok video. I could have just a live video of me talking, or I could do some post with a picture and some explanation. And those 3 different ways of getting information across, even though it's all on Facebook, I have a funny video, I got something serious like school, and then I have a live video that I'm talking to. Those are going to reach different people, right? Different people
Absolutely.
are going to take in information differently. And that's kind of my goal with this. And to be honest with you, I kind of like making the TikToks now. It's kind of fun. And as soon as the weather gets nice and I can actually feel like getting outside onto my range for longer than about 5 minutes, and it gets a little warmer, I'll get out there and I'll actually have some firearms in those videos, because I think reading the community guidelines, I think I'm okay if they can tell by looking that it's on a controlled range. So maybe I pissed them off enough, they're never going to let that fly with me. But I found a guy the other day, he's not local, he's in Idaho though, but he has got a video, he's a gunsmith, he's got himself a video of him holding his Glock just across his chest, and he's smoking a cigar, and it says "Life is good." And I'm like, how in the hell? He's in his shop.
How is that?
He's in his gunsmith shop. But I'm like, how the hell is that allowed? you know?
No, you pissed off somebody. I don't know.
Yeah,
I love the TikToks, so keep doing. But you're right that it's reaching different demographics of people. But the humor, like the one you use the banana in the holster. I mean, you're changing people's opinions. Everyone, who's not involved in our world thinks those crazy gun people.
And they don't think crazy gun people when they see me with a banana.
They see that you have humor, you have a personality, like that makes you more relatable. And then if that draws their attention, you've done TikTok, you're going to go to the page and they're going to look and they're going to see everything you think. You're not spewing hate.
Right.
You're not talking about insurrections. I don't know what even though I was just a non-gun owner not too long ago, but I always had a positive image of the gun owner because I grew up in a family that was their mentality. I never grew up as a gun hater or around gun haters, but it's showing that you have a personality. I think it's huge. I think it's great. I hope a lot of those people are local people that are drawn to you because, I want to see Patriot Defense become,
And
awesome.
I appreciate the support. And actually, there was a local guy. He lives a few towns over. He's been messaging me. He's going to get a hold of me soon. So, maybe I drew in, someone that wants to take a class for me. But what I want to do is, make the silly ones, they aren't silly. They're kind of whatever. But
they're fun.
They're fun. I want to be able to get out on my range, even during a class, and just take a little snippet of my class, right? People shooting, and then just put that on there to show not only am I going to sit in this chair in what I call or in my reloading room, right? And sit in this chair and be fun. But, I do go out, I do train, I do have classes, and I kind of want to sprinkle those in and, just kind of mix them all together, if that makes any sense. So people see him, they don't just, this is what he's going to start doing now and shut it down. But they keep coming back because he's going to have a fun one in there every now and then or whatever it might be. So I got some new cameras and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out how to do some new stuff. And I've been spending the last, so I told my wife, been spending the last 3 weeks in the marketing department. So
you've expanded the marketing department. That's some good business moves right there.
Yeah, I bring my lunch, I come out here and figure out what I'm doing next. That's essentially what that is involved with.
So another important question I have for you is when it comes to Doritos, do you prefer nacho or Cool Ranch?
Actually, I like the sweet chili, the purple bag.
Did I already ask you that?
No. I don't know if you did or not. It's the purple bag that you got to have.
Bag.
I go when I run these crazy races, and as soon as I get done, all I want is a bottle, the biggest 2-liter container of Coke I can find, and purple chips. I call them purple chips. And it's the purple bag of Doritos. It's like the sweet chili or sweet spicy chili. Oh, it's so good.
All right, I'll have to give those a whirl. I usually don't stray from the nacho and the Cool Ranch. I go with the tradition.
You need to try the sweet spicy chili. It'll change your life.
Change my life.
It'll change your life. I'll eat 3 of those from the time I finish the race in the evening till like noon the next day, I'll put down 3 bags and probably 4 Cokes. I'm serious, dude. And donuts and gas station burritos all in between.
Listen, the way that you go on those long runs, you're allowed to do that once in a while. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to.
So, what else we got? Any other questions?
Yeah, hold on. I got to look into my phone here.
So
the last time, last time we did, I was on earbuds, and I apologize to everyone who listened because it was pretty terrible. So now I'm talking on my phone, old-fashioned. I haven't talked on a phone like this in a long time. Oh, this is a good one. I wish I asked this one earlier. But when we were saying about starting to shoot, before you became an instructor, I'm assuming that you attended classes. Quick yes or no, so I know where to go.
Like
with
shooting,
my
like shooting
question.
Classes.
Did you take classes as a student? Yes.
No,
And have you, I know you have taken something since you became an instructor.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is what you have, specifically, I want to hear the bad stories, but what you've seen in classes where you were not the instructor that like you learned from, like you're like, that was awful. I'll never do that. Or that was awesome. I'm going to incorporate that. Because that's something like with me going to all these classes, I'm going to try to start sneaking in to, like we got all the LTC classes up here. I got a lot of instructor friends. I want to start sneaking into the LTC classes. I don't need to take it. I just want to watch the way they teach so I can steal their awesomeness from them.
Right. So, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, the NRA class that I took, super boring. And the guy had like no humor. He had absolutely nothing. It was just absolutely good information, horrible presentation, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, was that the basic pistol or was that the instructor one?
That was both of them. He did both. He did the basic pistol, and then I did the instructor one as well. And then I actually went back and so I did take more than I thought. It's been a long time. I took like home protection in the home or something.
Yeah.
And I had to take that one because that's kind of like our enhanced permit class that the state of Idaho uses. So I took that one as well. But anyhow, they were just so horrible and so boring. And I've also taken other classes where the instructors thought very, very highly of themselves. Does that make sense? And so
yes.
I don't want to do, the guy that thought very highly of himself, he attracted some people, right? He attracted certain people to him, and some people were like, some people loved him, and some people like me were like, when's this thing going to be over? Type of thing. So I try to, when I teach a class now, I try to just kind of be relatable to everyone, right? I don't go in there thinking highly of myself. In fact, there's a lot of things I do I don't do in class that a lot of instructors, I think, people sometimes, even instructors, will look at me and go, I wonder why he's not doing that. I don't do a lot of shooting in my classes. My permit classes, I don't shoot at all. I tell them what to do. I'm there to help them. Me and my range help. We're there to help them. We're there to instruct. Even my other... Is
that full classroom? That stays in the classroom then?
Well, so we have... That's a classroom portion, and then that's a range portion. And so during the range portion, I don't shoot at all. And I know a lot of instructors tend to like to demonstrate stuff, right?
Yes.
And I don't like that because unless someone just isn't getting like the drill, I may show them a drill. I have done that in the past, very, very little. I don't want to shoot. It's not my class. I'm teaching the class, and unless you're doing something horribly wrong that I can fix by showing you by doing the drill myself, I don't want to shoot. I don't like to see the other instructors shoot because the times, and I'm not saying everyone's like this, but the times I've actually been in a class where the other instructors have been shooting, it's like it turns into the instructor show. Does that make sense? They show off. They want to look at this gun and look what I've done to this gun and let me do this. I do have guns I like, and I actually will let people use my guns. Say, hey, you're looking for a gun. You should try this gun out or whatever. But I don't like to make it the Todd show. I'm not going to go shoot in front of you unless it's just, you need me to do it for a second to show you a drill. There is an instructor around here that some people have gone to, and when they go there, they literally spend, and we paid for this 5-hour class, and we spent the first 45 minutes just watching this instructor show off because he's really good.
Oh, no.
And he is really good, right? But it's it turned into the I'm not going to say his name, but the so-and-so show. That's all it was. We just stood around twiddling our thumbs, watching this guy shoot, and we didn't pay for that. So I don't ever want to be that. I'm always afraid of, I never want to intimidate anyone. And so with my type of students, my type of clientele, my niche, right? They're the new people, the brand new people to firearms, people that don't, are brand new, don't have any idea, are just learning. They are some older people. They're people that want to be. And I even actually did a Facebook Live yesterday trying to advertise a class, and I talked about this. I had a motto that I still have. It's on my business cards and stuff. It's practical, not tactical. I love it. That was my motto. And so I
love that.
And so my clientele, and there's all different people in the firearms community, my clientele, the people that I tend to strike a chord with, at least for me, hopefully I do with them as well, is, you got the mom, you got the dad, they have the kids. The mom goes shopping at the Costco or the Walmart or whatever with the kids, and she needs to know how to protect those kids, right? While she's carrying a baby carrier, pushing a shopping cart, right? The dad mows his lawns on Saturdays. He takes his kids to their soccer games, and so the family people, they need to know how to protect their family, his wife, his kids, whatever it is. If you show up to class and you're wearing a plate carrier and you have a drop leg holster on and you're all decked out in military fatigues, I'm not your guy. That's not me. And so I don't want to be that kind of guy. I don't want to intimidate anyone, right? I want to slow down if they're nervous, slow down if they're nervous, help them figure it out, make them feel happy, make them feel accomplished, make them feel comfortable. That's the way I want to be treated, right? Because I may be an instructor now, but there's at one point that I wasn't, and I can get intimidated, pretty easily, right? I'm not right out there in your face. I don't like that, and I don't necessarily care for macho military based instruction, or I'm law enforcement, I'm going to be your instructor today and go me, hurrah, hurrah. I don't like that. It intimidates me, and I don't want to do that to anyone else. So there you go. There's that long answer that I'm famous for.
I like the long answers. It because everything you're saying that you're trying to do, that you want to do, that you don't want to be, I think that you present that well. And that's me talking from the other side of the country, just from what I can see on social media. So, and I agree. If I have instructors that are, former military Leos, that's fine, because it just so happens to be around here. A lot of the people are, not all of them, but a lot of the instructors in my circle are.
Sure.
But they're not hardos. That's not the way that they're presenting themselves. They'll say, hey, this is my experience. So that's, now that I have this knowledge. Now let's do it. But they're very jokey. They're warm and fuzzy with the people who need the warm and fuzziness.
Right.
And
I don't want anyone to think that I was characterizing them all like that, because I know they're not all like that. But some of the ones where they're teaching those the tactical, as in TACTICOOL, tactical.
Yeah.
Those weekend warriors, the guys that think they're gonna save the country by just showing up at City Park at a certain time to, I call them, what do they call them? Tactical LARPers is what I call them. But
no, I have shot with a handful of instructors that were definitely more concerned with making sure we knew they were awesome
Yeah.
than making sure that we got the instruction that we were paying for. That, I paid for this class. I'm spending my day out here, and all I'm getting in is a lesson in your opinion of yourself.
Yeah, your life history.
Right. And so, and one thing I feel like I love self-deprecating humor. Like, I like to make fun of myself. I think that's just fun to do because in reality I'm awesome. So it's funny when I make fun of myself.
You
right?
should sit through one of my classes and listen to me. That's all I do.
But I feel like to a point, I think we got to be careful with that sort of thing because putting it into people's minds, I don't want, and maybe it's a girl thing more than anything. I don't want them questioning that I'm here to be your instructor. The things I'm going to tell you, you can anything that comes out of my mouth, I know is a fact and I know is correct. Otherwise, I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to put myself into a position where I might be given the wrong information. If I don't know, I'm not talking about it. I'll say, oh, that's a great question. Let me research it. I'll get back to you about it.
Sure.
Like even at the beginning of the show when I said, I'm not totally sure, but I'm going to find out, but blah, blah.
Yep.
But the self-deprecating humor makes you more relatable, more friendly, more down to earth. But then, these are all the thoughts going through my head as I'm intimidated at the idea of being an instructor. Yeah, I say it all the time. 5 foot tall woman. Most of these men in these classes, like a few weeks ago when we did a shooting class, all these guys are like 6 feet tall. I'm like standing in front of them, looking up, craning my neck to look up at them, and I'm telling them how to hold the gun, how to grip the gun, how to trigger press, and it just makes me wonder, what are they thinking when they see this little short broad with a big mouth? And they were all totally respectful, and it was great. I haven't had any trouble up here, really. For the most part, I think I've told you is, and I don't know if it's a Boston thing or if it's just the way that I do try to present myself. Like, if you think I'm crap, I don't care. If you think I'm crap, I'm not giving you that. I think a lot of guys will push back on women if they feel like the woman is weak. I'm very nervous about that part of being an instructor, though. And I think I've mentioned that to you. As a guy, you're lucky because you're a guy. You already have that going for you.
I think you'll do better than what you think. You just got to learn how to, because I've had people, I know we talked about this the last time you asked me some questions, but I've had guys in class that come in, and I'll be honest, there's probably some people that take class that have been shooting, well, I know they have been shooting way longer than me, and they may know more than me, right? But they're usually very gracious. Every now and then I'll get the guy that they try to challenge you, right? To a certain extent, and like in front of everyone, they try to challenge you a little bit, and you just have to so you can't put them down. You obviously don't want them to be unsafe. You got to stop that. If they're being just ignorant and unsafe, you got to stop that quick, right? You got to show them who's in control at that point. But a lot of times, other people around see what's going on, and those guys will end up making a fool out of themselves eventually, right? Or you just pay them a little more special attention when they're shooting and just kind of point out all the stuff they're doing wrong. I hate to say it. You could do it in a nice way, but it takes them down a notch.
Right.
It takes them down a notch. I've had, and I think I probably told you a story, I've had numerous times where someone's wanted to stay after class to shoot. Well, you want to shoot my gun? Because it was like a 40 or something. And I think just because I talk about the 9mm, that's the only thing I can shoot, right? And I pick up the gun and I will shoot it better than them. And then they usually just take their toys and they leave really quick without saying any words. It's just one of those things, right? It's just some people feel like they need to puff up their chest and make everyone around them feel small, and they're the worst person in the class. As far as safety, as far as I just made a TikTok talking about that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's true. And that's what you get.
It's the safety part, though. No, you're right. It's more about if they're going to be unsafety. That's good English. If they're going to be unsafe, That's one thing. If they're just being a rude mofo, that's fine. I can ignore that.
If they're being unsafe, you have to go up to them, and you need to, because you are. This is what you got to. This is what you got to. This is what I tell myself. This is what I tell them in class. I literally will tell them in class before we go out on the range. I don't know. I mean, some of them I do know, but I don't know you. You may be great shooters. You may not be. You may be world champion shooters for all I know. But for me, I have to go ahead and I just tell them the way I'm going to treat them. I'm not going to be rude, but I have to consider and just imagine that none of you guys have ever picked up a gun in your life. And that's how I'm going to treat you out here, because I am in control of my safety and I'm in control of your safety, each and every one of you. And if there's 25 people, that's a lot of people I'm in charge of. So I have a certain way that I want things done, and it better be followed. If it's not, it is a learning class, right? As long as someone's not waving a gun around, being an idiot, that's what I'm going to say, an idiot, with their finger on the trigger, right? Then they will be ushered out quickly. If it's just like they're demonstrating a grip, they're pointing the gun downrange, and they accidentally put their finger on the trigger when they shouldn't, then I'm going to say, take your finger off the trigger, take your finger off. This is a learning class. If you're not being ignorant about it and going to be unsafe to everyone else, if you start doing that, we're going to have an issue. But I tell them all. I just have to act like nobody here has ever shot before, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, and you're going to do it exactly when I tell you to do it, and you're going to do exactly what I say. And if you don't like that, I tell them that in the classroom. If you don't like that, then get out. I said I'd rather have one person in this class pissed off at me than have someone die.
Oh, seriously. I mean, obviously, that is the attitude that you have to have as an instructor. I think the confidence that comes with that will come with time, which maybe is the thing that I'm overthinking, because
it will come.
I want to know all the law. I want to know all the safety rules. I want to know all the details. I want to know all the information, and I can't learn confidence except in real time.
So you got to go in, and you have to, when you do your first class or whatever, right? You have to go in. You don't need to ooze I'm cocky and I know more than you. But you got to go in and look like you have your stuff organized and you have it all laid out and you have a plan. And then that will make it so they're confident in you.
Yeah. Now, I've been lucky. I've been helping with classes.
Sure.
So at this point, the way that firearms training school is going is there is the head instructor and there's two instructors. There's a guy who owns the business and then, his best buddy, his right-hand man. And then there's me and another girl who want to be instructors. And these two guys have taken us right under their wing, so supportive. Like, I couldn't ask for anything better than what these two guys are providing for us. So what they'll do is there'll be two classes going on at the same time. One is the indoor home safety class, the LTC class, and one's outdoor doing the beginner shooting. So one guy will be in, one guy will be out, one girl will be in, one girl will be out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have us girls do small modules, like maybe just talk about the grip, maybe just talk about stance.
Perfect.
And it's great because we're going to so next Saturday I'll be in the indoors because I did outdoors last time, which was 11 degrees, I think it was, all day. That was pretty cold to be outside. But what's great is, so when I was with the guy, Joe, and he said, hey, Mo, why don't you cover this? And I covered this. And then totally naturally, as if it was planned, he added in the few things I forgot to mention.
Sure.
But the way he did it did not point out that, oh, Mo, you forgot to mention this. It just flowed. This is the best learning environment I could have. And I am lucky for that. I'm lucky that I got these guys. When I do go out on my own, if I go out on my own, that what you said about having all the material, having everything, that sounds so scary to me right now.
You just got to have a plan, Mo. You just got to have a plan.
Yeah.
I know.
I'll be bugging you. I'll be texting you. I will be.
I know it sounds scary. I mean, when I started off, I knew how to shoot. I knew some stuff, but at least you have someone kind of mentoring you. This was just me being told I'm going to do it.
Do you make up your own PowerPoint?
I did. I learned how to run. I learned how to do PowerPoint. I learned how to do all that stuff. And I'm still using the same PowerPoint for my concealed carry class. I've taken some stuff out here and there and added some other stuff, but pretty much it's the basic PowerPoint I've been using for the last 9 years.
Nice.
I'm not going to change it. It's PowerPoints are a lot of work.
They are, yeah. I don't want to build my own.
Yeah, but hey, I appreciate you joining me again on the podcast. This is going to be an extra long one for everyone to make up for the weekend that I missed last weekend.
Yeah, and everybody, I apologize. I drank too much coffee before this. I think I was a little hyper, jumping all over the place.
No, you're good.
If you lasted, I love you.
You're good. So just hang on. Just hang in, and I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out, Mo. If you like the podcast, if you listen to the podcast, I appreciate it. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, any of those places where you can find a podcast. I should be on there. If I'm not, let me know, and I will get it fixed. But if you share it on your social media, that's awesome. If you do that, that helps the show out more than you know. The more listeners we get, the more people I can reach. That'd be awesome. More people that can come on and listen to Mo. You can, if you ever got any comments, you got any questions, you can get a hold of me. You can call me. You can text me, area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. You can find us on all the social medias, pretty much. Well, not all, but most of them, the big ones. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, which I usually do the podcast live on, but I haven't over this winter, just because I don't know. There's lots of reasons, but I'll get back to it again. It's when it's just me. No one ever just wants to stare at me while I do this. And I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of work doing a podcast by myself and then responding to comments on watching YouTube at the same time and running the board. There's a lot going on there, but I'll get back to it. And just newly, you can find us on Spotify. I've been doing a video a week for probably the last, 2.5 weeks or so, which I think is, I don't know what the average video someone posts on TikTok, but I've been trying to do a video a day. So there's quite a few videos up there. Check them out. It's only a few seconds. That's the beauty with TikTok. And if you want to support the podcast even more, you can check out our Patreon account. I'll put the link in the show notes. And that's $5 a month. And I got I got a handful of videos on there, and I'm trying to do better about getting them up there. I mean, you'll get 2 or 3 a month. I'm trying to do one every single week. I think I failed last weekend, but you will get on there if you want some instructional videos. Like I said, it's only $5 a month. Everyone should be able to afford that. So join that if you want, and I'll see you over there. Until then, I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening, and Mo, you have a great week.
Have a great week.
Bye.